Well, if the remaining games in the Far West Classic are anything like the first one tonight, we're going to have a lot of fun here this week at the Coliseum in Portland. The Oregon Ducks on Jordy Lyden's three-point basket with under 3 seconds to play defeat the Portland Pilots 75-72. And we were talking about it. For a guy that has struggled the last 2 years coming back from an injury, you couldn't be any happier for anybody than Jordy Lyden.
Well, he's worked so hard to come back. I mean, if people knew what he's done in the off season to rehabilitate himself, and to see that how down he was the last few games, losing his confidence, this is just a terrific story for him to be able to come back and do this in his hometown.
And how about Matt Hoole and the Portland Pilots? They'd made a valiant comeback down by 17. Hoole tied it up with a big three, but couldn't top Jordy Lyden tonight as the Oregon Ducks prevail. They move into the championship game of the Far West Classic, trying to capture their first Classic championship since 1974. Great game here at the Coliseum in Portland as the Ducks prevail over the Portland Pilots 75-72. Coming up next on Prime Sports Northwest, Game 2 of the Far West Classic, the University of North Carolina Wilmington Seahawks against the Oregon State Beavers. For Bruce O'Neill, I'm Todd McKim. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time as the Ducks win the opening game. Jordy Lyden, the hero.
Sports are always in season on Prime Sports Northwest. From soccer to volleyball, track and field to tennis, from one season to the next, your teams come to play on Prime Sports Northwest. The Buckeyes and the Ducks greet the new year with a grapple, Friday, December 31st at 8:30 Pacific. Prime Sports Northwest separates Oregon sports from the pack with Duck Sports Journal. Duck Sports Journal is your monthly magazine show devoted entirely to University of Oregon athletics. Join hosts Jerry Allen and Peg Reese as they introduce you to the athletes, coaches, and programs that make the stories behind the scores. Duck Sports Journal, only on Prime Sports Northwest. Join Jerry Allen and Peg Reese for this month's Duck Sports Journal, New Year's Eve at 6 Pacific.
Welcome back to the Far West Classic at Portland's Memorial Coliseum. Tonight, in Game 2, it'll be the University of North Carolina Wilmington against Oregon State. Hello, everybody. I'm Jimmy Jones, along with Jim Jarvis. The winner of tonight's game will go on to the championship round tomorrow to meet the University of Oregon, but it won't be easy for Oregon State. UNC at Wilmington has won 5 in a row, and they've got some big kids, and that's been a problem for the Beavers.
Jimmy, the size and strength of some of the teams that Oregon State has played this year have really caused them problems. North Carolina State and Oklahoma in particular, and UNC Wilmington is no different.
Now, they have an intriguing young man from Cairo, Egypt. His name is Sharif El Sandili, and he's one of those big guys that'll give some problems. He's a shot blocker and the leading rebounder.
Sharif is a great shot blocker, an outstanding shooter. They've got 4 guys averaging around 11 points a game, and he's one of them. Then we go to another big man they have, Darren Moore, 6'9", 245, shooting 59% from the field for the season.
Well, you know, we really still haven't got the official starting lineup for Oregon State yet, but I expect that Kareem Anderson will be in the lineup. He did not start the last game, but played so well coming off the bench, I expect we'll see him.
They have to have Kareem in the ball game because he's a scoring threat, can shoot the three-point shot. He had 23 points last week against North Carolina State along with 6 rebounds. They really need his scoring. And also, Brent Berry is the leader on the ball club. They look to him for his experience. He's a junior. He's an exciting player to watch, and they really need his athletic ability in there.
Well, the Seahawks of UNC Wilmington would like to keep that hot streak going. The Beavers need a win desperately. We'll begin this one right after this.
Get in on the action.
Right now, save up to $3,000 on selected new all-wheel drive Subaru Legacy L models during the Subaru Holiday Price Break. Now you can enjoy the superior handling, reliability, and safety of an all-wheel drive Legacy and save up to $3,000. So why settle for a front-wheel drive Altima, Accord, or Camry? Especially when the Subaru Legacy is America's best-selling all-wheel drive car. Make the Subaru Holiday Price Break your lucky break.
He was hired to protect her, but she only wanted his love. Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston star in the romantic box office smash, The Bodyguard, on HBO. And he was the world's greatest clown. He lived a life of stardom and scandal. Robert Downey Jr. stars in the Oscar-nominated role of Chaplin on Showtime. Viacom Cable brings the hits to your home in January.
There's more of what you're looking for with Viacom Cable.
In a moment, we'll bring you game 2 of this opening night. North Carolina Wilmington Seahawks and the Oregon State Beavers. Well, this will be an interesting game. If it's the quality of that first game, this will be a dandy, Jim.
That first game was a great ball game going right down to the final seconds, and historically there have been some great ball games in the Far West Classic.
That was a very dramatic finish, and Oregon wins it 75-72 to move on to the championship game tomorrow night. Now let's go to public address announcer Don Essig and the starting lineups.
Now the starting lineups for tonight's second game of the 1993 Far West Classic. Representing the Colonial Athletic Association, the University of North Carolina Wilmington Seahawks. Starting at one forward, 6'8", a junior from Hampton, Virginia, number 00, Corey Stewart. At the other forward, 6'8", senior from Cairo, Egypt, number 33, Sharif El Sanadili. At the center, 6'9", sophomore from Marion, North Carolina, number 52, Darren Moore. At one guard, 5'10", senior from Millersville, Maryland, number 21, Drew Phillips. At the other guard, 6'4", junior from Nutter Fort, West Virginia, number 34, Chris Min. And the head coach of the Seahawks in his 4th year, Kevin Eastman. The designated home team representing the Pac-10 Conference, the Beavers of Oregon State University. At forward, 6'6", a junior from Danville, California, number 31, Brent Berry. The other forward, 6'4", junior from Merced, California, number 43, Kareem Anderson. At center, 6'9", freshman from Dallas, Texas, number 15, Jerron Brown. The point guard, 6'3", sophomore from Albany, number 5, J.D. Better. The other guard, 6' junior from Ventura, California, number 21, Stephen Brown. The head coach of the Beavers in his 6th year, Jim Anderson. The Beavers and the Seahawks.
This is the 37th Far West Classic. Oregon State, of course, has been a part of it all 37 years, but this is the first time they have met UNC Wilmington. The fourth team from North Carolina, however, as they play the University of North Carolina, Wake Forest, and University of North Carolina Charlotte. First meeting between these two, and the Beavers against the Colonial Athletic Association are 0-2, and that is a good conference. Teams like Old Dominion and the Richmond Spiders.
Well, Jimmy, a lot of people out west aren't aware of what great basketball they do play back in that conference, and historically those teams have been tough, and they are again this year.
This will be the wind-up game for the first round. Years ago, of course, you remember this as a participant in the Far West Classic yourself and on the all-tournament team. This used to be an 8-team tournament.
It used to be an 8-team tournament, and it really started out back at Oregon State and Gill Coliseum with 4 high school teams and 4 college teams. Then it migrated up here to Portland and became an 8-team major college tournament. University
of Portland, University of Oregon, Oregon State University, and UNC Wilmington the field this year. Next year, Notre Dame will be here along with George Washington. And the following year, Nebraska and Cincinnati will play in Portland. So a couple of pretty good fields coming up.
Well, it's really important to get the Far West Classic back on track with some real name teams that a lot of fans relate to, and certainly those are those types of teams, Jim.
All right, we're set to go. The officials tonight, Norm Brukey is the referee, Terry Chrisman and Don McAllister the umpires. And we are underway, and Oregon State will control the tip as Stephen Brown retreats to pick it up. Oregon State, a marginal shooting team, 459 as a team, and a very poor foul shooting team, of course, just a click over 50%.
UNC sitting back in his zone right now. See how Oregon State attacks it.
Inside, nice pass. Here's Barry, and he walked with the ball. So the first turnover goes on Oregon State's side of the chart. Just underway at Memorial Coliseum.
Well, that was a nice pass into Jerron Brown. Not strong enough yet to make the play, although he did make a good pass to Barry.
Drew Phillips gets it to Sanadilli. Nice backdoor play. Good block underneath by Jerron Brown. They're going to need that kind of play tonight. There's Stephen Brown to the goal. No. And Sanadilli comes up with it.
That's been kind of typical Oregon State to this point this year, Jim, missing those easy lay-ins, and they've got to convert those.
No score in the game. We played the first minute.
Oregon State out in the man-to-man defense at this point in time. During the course of the game, I anticipate that they'll switch up between man-to-man and zone defenses.
Here's Darren Moore going to the basket, and he is fouled. So UNC Wilmington will get the first opportunity.
We'll get another look at that. Here's Darren Moore flashing to the post. Oregon State can't let the big guy get the ball that easily in the post, or he'll do some damage as he did then.
This is Moore at the foul line. Preseason all-conference pick in the Colonial Athletic Association. Good offensive rebound.
He's got that big body. He takes up a lot of space inside, and it's tough to block off the boards.
He's 6'9".
245.
245, yeah. Got them both.
Got a nice touch on that foul shot.
So it's 2-0 and full court pressure applied.
A little 2-1-2 zone press that UNC showing.
Anderson from the corner cannot get it down. Brown knocks the ball loose for a moment, but it's picked up and controlled by Corey Stewart of UNC Wilmington. This is Stewart inside for the big fella, Moore.
J.D. Vetter going to the floor again. He's had a history this year of falling down like that and hurting himself.
Open shot for Vetter. Yes. 2-point goal for J.D. Vetter.
Well, the Oregon State fans would be glad to see that. J.D. was an outstanding scorer in high school, and it's been a disappointment so far in the last 2 seasons on his shooting, and so maybe he'll get off track here.
Now, he had a marvelous high school career. Played very little last year. Phillips, perfect 3-point goal. That's Drew Phillips from Millersville, Maryland. Not a lot of North Carolina kids on this team.
He's getting his chance to start this year as a senior. Looks like another one of those solid little point guards that we've seen against Oregon State several times this year.
Will not go for Brown. He was very deep under the hoop.
Too soft. You got to take the ball up there strong to the hoop, and he was too soft with it.
Boy, Jimmy Anderson really popped up off the bench on that call. He's still ranting and raving over on the side.
We'll get another look at it. Here's the pass from Phillips. Penetration. It's pretty tough to call on that. That's a Again, that block charge foul is the toughest call in basketball.
First foul to J.D. Vedder.
Good defense by Oregon State so far.
El Sanadilli, he walked with the ball. So the turnovers are even at 1 each.
Looks like they're going to look to pound the ball inside against Oregon State.
It makes sense with the players they have.
See how Oregon State taxes on this time. So far, they've made a couple good passes inside in the seams and they've yet to convert.
Anderson out of the three-point circle. Here's Brown. They back off of Brown. Let him shoot it. Cannot get it down. The ball knocked away on the rebound from Brown, but recovered underneath. Here's Brown again. One too many. Fakes up.
Well, you just see the lack of strength in Jerron Brown. He's a redshirt freshman, and I think he'll be a good basketball player someday, but he's really got to build himself up physically.